while we are waiting for that, couple things that we need to take care of real quick. Number one, Ben, have you picked a new short-term goal?
Don't find the Manticore at the Schaffenfest.
That is... That... Try again.
Alright, I'll think of something different. Because that is the goal in my heart.
That's a good goal in your heart, but that's not technically an achievable goal by your actions. That is only achievable through sheer dumb luck. And chat, let me know if the audio levels are okay as well. Make sure y'all can hear everybody. And then, have y'all decided on a party short term?
There was no communication, but just thought of one right now. Find if the Manticore has been spotted in the area at all.
That would take too little of time. You could easily accomplish that with like a single gossip check.
I just had get information on the Manticore if possible, and then for a long term is to slay it, at least for party goals.
For sure. Okay, if y'all want to do something relating to the Manticore for a party short-term goal, how about
Go ahead. Short-term could be getting that's the guy with the hippogriff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. So securing the support of his name has exited my brain, but the good news is I know what page he's on.
Gordy Wittenshin. Wittenshin.
Yes, Wittenshin, yes. Yeah, so yeah, no, that I think that would be an appropriate short-term goal if y'all want to do that. Securing his support / employment. And I was stupid last time and wrote that in the Discord, or wrote that in the chat where we roll dice instead of the Discord. I need to make us not this channel in like a proper server. I'll do that later today. That way it's easier to navigate these things. Wooden. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Gordy. Good old Gordy. So yeah, okay, y'all can have that as your short-term goal to secure the employment and or services of Gordy Wahedin Sihin. And then Ben, for your short term, let's see. I'm trying to think of what all does Dorothandrel have on his mind outside of Manticore shenanigans. Is there any particular piece of equipment you might be interested in securing? Or is there anything that has happened in recent sessions that you think would really be weighing on his mind and that he might want to gather more information about?
Yeah, he is interested in what's going on in Marienburg right now.
Yeah, especially after what happened last time with Mystic Mirgrit.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so let's do that. Let's do I would say something along the lines of let's do gather information about Marienburg situation. That's fine. Okay, so last time, to cut it short so we can just jump straight to the session, because we are on a little bit of a timer. Y'all, to cut it very short, y'all actually got to meet and hang out with Gordy and talk with him a bit about his captured hippogriff and that he is a monster tracker / hunter by trade. You had a little bit of back and forth with him about the Manticore. He basically offered to sell you his services if you could afford to employ him, though he's not the cheapest. He costs quite a few silver on a daily basis if you were to take him on board, though you could always just try paying him for a couple handful of lessons. However, he was far more amicable to the idea of working for you guys if you could help him with his problem, being that he wants to sell the hippogriff on the 3rd day of the Schaffenfest, tax-free, but no one is allowing him to categorize it as poultry because it is a hippogriff, it is not a chicken. So currently he is on the hook for paying taxes, which is going to dramatically reduce how much he would make off of it if he could even find somebody to buy it. Because frankly, hippogriffs are incredibly dangerous. That being said, after that, y'all wandered around the Schaffenfest for a while and encountered various things. You eventually stumbled into Pete Luckpucket, a friend that 3 of you met back in the day, technically all 4 of you, but an alternate version of one of you, met back at the Coach and Horse Inn, back on the road from Mindenheim to Altdorf, and she was dealing with some issues from a familiar face, but y'all managed to navigate that circumstance well. And then after that, you went with P and did a couple of random fun things around the Schaffenfest before ultimately you ended up in the tent of Mystic Margaret. And she, for a fee, was willing to tell your future. And she spouted out a bunch of random things, which if you choose to remember or not is up to you. And then after that, y'all wandered back out into the Schaffenfest, thoroughly, some of you more bothered than others about what she had to say. But the good news is, you've had plenty of alcohol, so not a problem anymore. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. And that's pretty much where we left off, is y'all wandered back out into the festival proper, and you're vaguely in the area of the football, down here, the Blood Bowl ball. And you were making your way over to this direction to try and maybe see if you could check out the jousting tournaments and or find somebody there that you could talk to about buying the hippogriff or something along those lines. And that is basically where we left off. Is there any questions, concerns, or comments that anyone wants to address before we go any further? Going once?
Nope.
Going twice? All right. So, you have quite literally just exited Mystic Margaret's tent with her various prophecies and concerns lingering on your minds. I believe that's the last thing we did before the end of the session was Mystic Margaret. Either that or it was the nearly deadly foot race. It was one or the other. But with those words and her vague prophecies kind of echoing in your mind, you reemerge out into the light and the hustle and bustle of the festival proper. What would y'all like to do?
We should probably continue down and try and find. We were going to try and find like the officiator of the jousting tournament.
Yeah, sure. All right. So you're able to start making your way further across the Schaffenfest, and as you're approaching this corner where the eastern wall and the southern walls meet, you do hear some. Who of y'all can read?
It's Dorthandrel and Dorthandrel only.
All right, so as y'all are kind of coming around this corner, you see that there is a very, very large tent that sticks out, even compared to all of the others. It's like kind of almost like a ring circus type tent where it's got like the 2 big tent poles holding it up, and it covers a fair amount of space to the point where it's backed up against the walls, fairly close to the postern gate, and it takes up quite a bit of space. In Dorthandrel, you see that there are a series of wagons that are next to it because they are kind of roped off in a semicircle enclosure backed up against the wall next to this immense tent. And you see that there is a banner on the side of one of the wagons that says Dr. Malthusius Zoocopeia, Strange creatures from all corners of the world, the marvelous, the bizarre, the disgusting, brought to you at enormous expense. No other like it in the world. Several of these words are misspelled. But you do see that there are quite a few various... the other wagon, so the one that doesn't have a sign on it, is more of a flatbed with a tarp over it, and there are several stacked wooden cages. And as y'all are kind of getting close to sort of cut around it, you can hear a very bizarre assortment of sounds emanating from those cages. And against it, you can also see that there's like quite a few different kinds of signs that are in the process of being picked up and put out on the outside of the semicircle enclosure, that have like different sorts of advertisements for like different creatures or experiences that are apparently going to be taking place, being put out by a very, very rough looking dwarf.
Oh, that looks like something we should avoid. They have ugly creatures inside. Why would people pay to see ugly creatures?
How do you know if they truly are ugly if you don't see them for yourself?
P pipes up at this. It says, "Oh wait, no, P's out. Never mind. P doesn't say anything."
Yeah, he's unconscious on Astro's shoulder.
He replies with,
I can smell them.
So as you're all kind of musing over that, and you're coming around the corner proper, you see that outside the main entrance to the tent, which is in the circle of this semicircle with the wagons kind of positioned behind it, and the wagon, while the wagons are up against the wall, the back part of the tent goes all the way to the wall as well. It's a huge space. You see that there is a massive crowd of people that have already gathered outside the front of the tent. And everyone is already kind of, pressing in. You see a lot of excited faces. There's children, various drunk onlookers. A lot of people are starting to gather up, and you hear a thunderous tone shout out over the audience as you hear, "Roll up, roll up! In just 1 hour, you will witness the most original and astounding display of zoological curiosities ever placed on exhibition in the entire length and breadth of our glorious empire. Welcome to Dr. Malthusius Zoocopeia, gathered together for your education, entertainment, and edification from the far corners of the known world at incalculable expense. The unusual, the bizarre, yes, even the faintly disgusting. You will never see its like again, my friends, not if you live for 1,000 years.
Oh, I'm good then.
It sounds interesting. Not only that, he seems like a gentleman who might be interested in a manticore to add to his collection. Or not a manticore, a hippogriff.
I was going to say, Astroth, you want to try and capture this manticore that made you shit your pants.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
That would depend on his definition of incalculable and how high he can count.
This is true. There's only one way to find out, though.
So, as the y'all, so this massive crowd is basically between y'all and where you are trying to go. If you want, you can try and kind of go around it, which is going to take a fair while. You could also try elbowing through it, or if you want, you can even try kind of seeing what everybody is looking at and seem so wildly entertained by.
Yeah, I'd like to do that first. Just kind of see what everybody's looking at.
All right, y'all. It's not terribly difficult to kind of navigate your way through the crowd. Most people are not like pressing in and are kind of relaxed and waiting. And as you arrive closer to the front, you see that there is you are getting quite close to those two wagons I talked about earlier, particularly the flatbedded one, which has all the various cages. And as you are sort of skirting around some people, you are able to just make out that one of the cages has within it a small three-legged goblin. And the goblin is sort of leaned down against the bottom of his cage, and he's kind of looking out at all of these people that are making all of this ruckus as everyone's chatting among themselves and either shouting various remarks or fussing at one another to not step on their shoes or what have you. And this creature is just sort of huddled against the corner of its cage, lying so that it could peer out under the tarpaulin. And it has an iron collar on that's basically keeping it on a leash. And the dwarf that you saw earlier is moving around the flatbed and is starting to get the cages off, and the cages are all being moved into the major tent, presumably in preparation of the show. And as the dwarf is pulling these off, eventually he comes for the goblin's cage. And the goblin, panicking, seeing the dwarf approaching, attempts to pull away from the dwarf. Like, it starts freaking out and pulling as desperately as it can. And as it does so, the collar that it is yanking at, trying to get off, suddenly, and rather unexpectedly, snaps. And you see that moment of realization come over this goblin's face. And before the dwarf can do anything, the goblin immediately squeezes through the bars of its cage, being a fairly skinny, small creature, and jumps off the wagon and starts sprinting directly at you. You are not the only people to notice this. And all of a sudden, all around you, you hear people start to scream.
How far away from this are we?
I would say maybe 5 to 7 yards, and it's coming directly at you. If you want, you can try and get out of the way, or you can try and grab it. It is just a goblin. It's a lot smaller than all of you.
I'm going to kick the shit out of it. Since it's only 5 to 10 yards away, I'm going to move to level the goblin to the ground.
It will not be necessary to move because it is going to get to you before you get to it, so to speak. But if you'd like, anyone may attempt a melee brawling check to attempt to grab or lay out or otherwise incapacitate the gobbo.
Melee brawl. I have basic and just melee. That's all I can say.
Then just roll a weapon skill. And here, I will put up the artwork for you all of the goblin.
Ah, yes, the goblin with 3 legs.
Ew.
I'll also do a weapon skill test because I don't have brawl, but I do have strike to stun that I'm going to attempt.
That was challenging.
Yes, it is going to be challenging. And the goblin is going to attempt to dodge. Oops, I wanted to do. Whoops, I didn't do that right. Haha! So Astaroth, you make an attempt to grab at the goblin, but it manages to avoid you. It's very small and very quick, so it manages to duck underneath your swipe. Meanwhile, Sigmund, let's see if you catch the... Wow, that goblin's rolling really well. No, that goblin...
What the fuck?
That goblin slides right under your attempt to capture this small creature. Does anyone else want to attempt to catch it before this thing is out and among the people?
Nah, I'm
Dorthandle's
good.
drunk. He thinks this is a good idea to try to catch the goblin. The obvious mutation.
Okay.
Does it got, oh my god.
I am not gonna re-roll that. It is that's
Well,
peak Dorthandle now.
the goblin may do worse. Unlikely, but possible.
Does the
There's
goblin have
one-
Fear Elves rule?
It does, but it hasn't really noticed him yet, and it also is doing its best to avoid him. Oh yeah, no.
What the fuck?
The fuck? Jesus.
All right. So,
Holy crap.
so
Yeah, now you know how we feel,
yeah.
Astaroth.
So the goblin rather effortlessly, Astaroth nearly gets it. Like it only just slightly manages to avoid your grasp, but then it is kind of doing the effort of weaving among people, and especially thanks to y'all's drunkenness, this is a supremely difficult task. The goblin is very small, and it also moves surprisingly fast thanks to that extra leg. And as Dorothandrel in particular attempts to reach down and go for this goblin, Dorothandrel, roll me a D100 to see how bad this is going to be for you.
You want me to just roll the fumble or just the D100?
Hold on. Let me take a very brief look at the fumble table to see if it's going to be enough for what I am envisioning in my head. Let's see. Oops table. Yeah, sure, you can roll oops, that's fine. I will interpret what it gets, but that's fine, you can roll on the oops table. Oh my god! Whew, okay. Yeah, so, as you go to swing and grab for this goblin, between your drunkenness, which you have not been this level of drunk in a very, very long time, y'all have had quite a bit to drink, and wandering around, you just overexert yourself. It's too sudden of a movement is really what it is that you go from just standing there to suddenly attempting to lurch for this very small creature. Like, you really, like, throw yourself down, and the way you do so in your drunkenness is that you proceed to tear a muscle. So let's roll me a D100 for location in your body for where this muscle is. A 1. Wow. Wow. Dice are being assholes today. Yeah, you tear a muscle in what, your neck?
I guess.
Yeah.
Cranked too low.
Yep, you will tear a muscle in your neck. So you have the torn muscle. Which is pretty brutal.
Oh, okay. I have to edit the effect. It defaults to leg from the oops table.
Oh, well, actually, no, that's fine. Just stick with that then, because that actually is a lot easier. That makes more sense and is fine. Yeah, just do your, let's say your left leg. That's fine.
All right.
All right, so you have a torn muscle in your left leg. That works fine. All right. Luckily for y'all, despite the fact that everybody missed the goblin, the good news is that while y'all may have failed at this particular issue, there are dozens and dozens of other people. And a few people managed to get lucky enough to grab the goblin. And it is successfully captured. and it lets out this kind of really pathetic mewling sound as it attempts to escape. And while it does have a little bit of a wiry strength to it, it's a very tiny little goblin. It's almost a snotling, and it's not by any means able to escape the grasp of the multiple people that have garnered it. So you suddenly hear a voice going, "Make way! Make way!" And a particularly aggrandized individual makes his way through the crowd, and you finally get to lay your eyes upon... Where the hell is his art? Where is he? Guthrie, Grooney... Ah, there it is. You finally lay your eyes on Dr. Malthusius. So, before you, he's not the tallest man. He's about average height. You know, he's probably around like 5'10"ish. But you see this man approach who has shoulder-length, shiny blonde hair, and as he kind of lay eyes on y'all, seeing the elf has spilled himself onto the ground, along with numerous other people. The elf isn't the only person that failed spectacularly amidst the mess, especially because several people were far more busy trying to push against others to get away from the goblin instead of trying to catch it. But he has this you could tell this is a smile that it's either so practiced that it's become like effortlessly dazzling, or perhaps it's just naturally always been that way. And while he is very gaudily dressed, his clothes are very flamboyant in color, and they are designed to draw your attention. It is also quite noticeable to you that they are a bit old and faded. You can tell that this is a man that travels frequently and often. And while he is a performer, and he does, want to really attract your attention, he's not so wealthy that he is constantly in, like, the nicest of clothes. There are little, like, rips and tears and stuff. But he does make a nice presentation of himself. And as he sees everyone, he goes, all right, everyone relax. Everything is fine, good people. It's fine. The goblin has been captured. Thank you, my good people of Bogenhofen. Well done, well done. And he mutters and he goes, get over here, get the goblin. And a dwarf...
Oh, my foot! To let everyone know, everything is not fine.
You receive very little pity. A dwarf, a very particularly vicious looking dwarf, approaches. He's quite a bit. It's a little unusual to see a dwarf who is so seedy looking. Like, he looks incredibly suspicious in a sense, and has a quite nasty little sharp stick. And he really comes over and goes, and he grabs the goblin roughly by the arm and yanks it. And the goblin starts shrieking as the dwarf grabs onto it. And he does not hesitate to immediately just start laying into the creature with this stick, just bashing it over the shins and the shoulders before Malthusius goes, that's enough. Take it back. Just take care of it. And he goes, deal with it, Grooney. And the dwarf nods and goes, grubby. And he drags away the goblin back into the tent. And Malthusius sort of pauses and turns and goes, I do apologize, everyone. That was, of course, not part of the performance, though it does make for quite the entrance. But here, let me reward all of you brave souls who were willing to put yourselves into the throat of danger itself in order to secure such a critical part of the performance. After all, we don't want the exhibits escaping. And he reaches into, he opens a little coin purse, and he reaches in, and he pulls out a handful of silver, and he basically walks up to anyone that looks kind of sort of obviously disarrayed, and hands them a single silver shilling. So he gives one to Dorothandrel, he gives one to Sigmund, he gives one to Astaroth, he gives one to several other people. Lenny, as he is passing by you, you did not attempt to stop the goblin, but he does not necessarily know that. If you want, you can attempt to make yourself seem like you should receive one, if you'd be so inclined.
Nah, Lenny's just enjoying the commotion.
That's fair. So after that, he closes up his pouch and sort of looks around. He says, well, my good people, since you were all so kind as to ensure that my Dr. Malthusius Zoocopeia can continue on without issue, how about a free show? And everyone just immediately goes, oh, yeah, like a lot of people start shouting and cheering, especially because it's not necessarily the cheapest show. Normally it costs a shilling as an entry fee, according to the various signs, which most of them are marked out in symbols so that people who cannot read can determine that getting into the show is a silver. And so he immediately turns and he kind of looks, and you see the dwarf peek his head out from the tent and just sort of give a very slight nod. And Dr. Malthusius turns back and says, yes, come on in. And he reaches down and he pulls up the rope, allowing everyone, the crowd, to start funneling in to the tent for their performance.
Dorothandrel, are you alright?
No.
You notice nobody offers to stop and help the elf.
Can
Nobody.
you stand?
There is a lot of snickering, though, by people passing by.
Have I seen a single elf here?
Not in the wider crowd, yes. In this particular crowd, no.
Okay.
I did meet an apothecary we might be able to go back to wrap up your ankle.
Dorothandrel limps around in a circle briefly to try to walk.
Well, is this why you didn't want to do the run earlier?
No, Lenny, I think he just got hurt.
Ugh.
Do you think you could walk?
Yes. P,
Well-
this is a terrible festival. I wish you were awake to know.
She is. You hear some very adorable light snoring in response.
So, barring that Dorothandrel could still stand and walk, while I'm overjoyed that a greenskin is getting the lights beat out of it, I would not want to sell or let this gentleman know about the hippogriff based off of what I've seen. I have a very large suspicion that it wouldn't receive good treatment here. And a creature like that deserves to be taken care of.
I will note.
Trained properly.
See how the other creatures are treated. That is a greenskin we saw.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But like I said, it just fills my heart with such joy to see it. But
I will say, unless y'all are doing something specific to avoid it, the audience is going to carry you into the Zoocopeia.
Yeah.
I'll step
Dorothandrel
to
is
the
going to
side.
try to not go into the Zoocopeia.
I will say, there is seating inside if you want to get off your leg for a minute to let it not be as awful. By the way, if I didn't say so earlier,
Seating elsewhere.
if I did not make it obvious earlier, take a wound. Because it is essentially a critical wound.
Alright.
Done.
As people are flowing past you, the dwarf does have out a collection basket, essentially, and is taking in shillings from other people that are starting. Now that people have realized the show is about to start, there are more and more people pressing in from outside, and it is getting it's I don't know if y'all are aware of the concept of a crowd press.
Yes.
But it going against the crowd at this time is not really going to be feasible unless you're going to do something extreme, especially because y'all are in the we get in for free portion of the crowd.
I think Dorthandrel kind of skirted his way out. Is that correct?
I can assure you
Lenny's with him.
I can assure you he did not. I do not think y'all realize how large this audience is.
All right.
Going to attempt to push his way out. As
Move
best
out
he
of the
can with
way.
one leg.
We got an angry elf over here.
Roll for if y'all want to try and get out. You can roll me a just a flat strength check.
I want to go in because I want to see if I can gauge how the other creatures are treated.
A crit on Dorthandrel. Anybody else want to try?
What difficulty?
It is a secret for this check, so just roll it as if it were challenging. Okay.
Sure, I'll leave it that way.
All right. So thanks to. Go ahead.
If it counts as opposed, I get another +2.
Good to know. Thanks to Dorthandrel's notably good roll, I will note, because he crit, I am not going to include what I was going to include in this. But basically what happens is that, Sigmund, are you attempting to get out, or are you kind of with Astaroth where you're like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm with Astaroth.
Alright, so while you two effortlessly just get to smoothly move with the crowd, the elf attempts to turn around along with Lenny, and the two of you attempt to push your way through the crowd. Lenny, you quickly realize that you do not have the strength to deal with this. Furthermore, people are pushing against you, very angry people, because y'all are not doing what they want you to do, and you're now causing a bit of a blockage, and more people behind those people are shoving them, and the people behind those people are shoving them, and you are attempting to stop this wall of force. Now, what very easily could have happened is the two of you could have been effortlessly crushed under this, or even potentially knocked down and trampled. However, Dorthandrel rolled a crit. So what happens instead, and succeeded, I should note. So what happens instead is that Dorthandrel, as much as you want to weave through these people, and as much as you want all these annoying damn humans to just get out of your way so you can go do something else, maybe find somewhere nice in the shade to lay down and just commiserate in your misery for a bit, there is no getting out of this through mundane means, at least. And the crowd is pushing so much against y'all that you quickly realize that it's either move or die, quite literally. But with your elven grace and your elven abilities, instead of simply being shoved roughly or potentially even tripping and y'all being trampled and potentially being in a lot of danger, you are able to sort of grab Lenny and effortlessly slide the two of you into the flow of the audience next to you, so that you are carried into the Zoocopeia without taking any, essentially any issue. And there's a sudden amount of shouting and a few screams of panic as the blockage you cause suddenly becomes unblocked, and several people do trip. A number of people do fall over, and the crowd is a lot of people shouting and yelling at one another as they are trying to untangle themselves in this mess. Now, thankfully, it does not turn into a full-on trample situation, as the crowd is not, like, fleeing from something. Instead, it is just people enjoying themselves that are pushing in. It's still what I would call a dangerous people, and it's clearly obvious that there are some people who are going to be hurt. But you hope none of it is serious injuries. But you will never know as you are carried by the rest of the crowd into the tent. So, as you arrive within the tent itself, people are milling about. They're kind of flooding in taking seats. Y'all are part of the earliest crowd, so you may sit if you wish, or for those of you that wish to leave, you could actually just sort of hang out off to the side by the entrance, and once the audience starts flowing in, you very well could probably make your way out.
Yeah, Dorothandril's waiting by the entrance. He has no desire to stay at a place with iron collars that a goblin can break. And then see more wondrous marvels of the world.
That's a fair criticism.
Absolutely fair. Like, Dorothandril, come sit. I know you don't want to be here, but you really should get off that ankle for a little while.
I have another foot.
Lenny, are you going to go sit with Astaroth and Sigmund, or are you going to hang out? Or are you going to stay with Dorothandril so you can peace out and go do something else?
He's gonna be still trying to look for openings to get out. Just like get out. Ah, she's like pushing through people.
Oh man, yeah, As you're doing that, you catch no small amount of like bony elbows into the ribs or the arms, and you hear people being like, "Fucking damn foreigner, get out of the way!" And like a lot of just very rude people, little ladies like kind of like avoiding you because you're scary looking and different, and people that are kind of shoving at you rudely. A lot of assholes, just a lot of assholes. That being said, eventually the crowd starts to settle and start to kind of, everyone's excitedly chatting among themselves, but they start to kind of all relax enough that Dorothandril, the flood turns into a trickle, and once it has reached trickle straight, the two of you could very, very easily make your way out of the tent if you'd be so inclined.
Dorothandril is inclined to do so.
Okay.
He has purpose to go somewhere.
Let's get out of here. It's far too busy. This is just uncomfortable.
All right. We will come back to you two in a moment as the everyone is sitting and the two of them slip out to go do something else, which we'll deal with in a minute. But Dr. Malthusius is standing off to the side of the central there's no stage, but like what you would consider center stage of the dirt that has been kind of all packed down as they set up this large tent. And once the audience is kind of it looks like nobody else is really moving around anymore, and everyone who wants to come in has come in, and everyone who wants to leave is left, Dr. Malthusius walks into center stage. And he says, welcome, one and all, to Dr. Malthusius' Zoocopeia. Now, I know you're all excited for the show to begin, as I present to you creatures the likes of which you've never seen in your lives, brought from the far corners of the known world, and even further beyond, things that neither elf nor dwarf nor man has seen. Now, let us begin with, and he makes a very kind of extravagant show of his hands off to a little line where there's no place for people to stand or sit that leads out to presumably where the cages are kept. And he says, behold, the horrendously hairy horror of Hockland! And a creature is brought in by the dwarf who you've caught on, or you've heard of him shouting. His name is Gruni. And Gruni drags in this creature that is quite peculiar looking. From our understanding here in the real world, it would functionally be like an ape, like a small gorilla or chimpanzee or orangutan, but it has exceptionally long hair, which is, unless you've been to the outdoor zoo, you've genuinely never seen a creature like this before. You could maybe if you wanted to really squint your eyes at it, think of it as a mutant, but it does look like a very distinctly unique and kind of bizarre creature. And so the creature is brought out, and it sort of just follows along the dwarf. It kind of like just waddles after him every once in a while. It presses its knuckles, tend to, because it has longer arms, tend to drag along the ground, and every once in a while it'll kind of use its knuckles to give itself a little bit of a hop, and all you hear everyone in the audience go, ooh, ah, like you hear people kind of reacting to this strange creature. A couple of particularly, shall we say, not the strongest spined of women, let out some over the top little shrieks of horror at this terrible creature. Oh my God, its hair is so long. As many of these people are peasants who have never seen anything like this before. This is like by far the most exciting moment of their lives. And so it's paraded around a little bit of a circle, and Dr. Malthusius kind of just rambles on a couple little things, and Gruni just sort of grunts at the creature, and every once in a while he'll give it a really hard tug to make it sort of stumble after him. Kind of unnecessarily. Like, the creature isn't by any means not following him, just sometimes he seems to go out of his way to interrupt it or torment it. But eventually they do their little circle around the arena, and the creature is shuffled back to wherever, to back in the backer, the further back area. The next is he kind of goes, and that was just the beginning, and a lot of people clap and cheer and stuff, and he takes off his hat and he bows, and he goes, next, behold, the dastardly one-eyed dog of Deersdorf. Now this one gets some responses from everyone in the crowd, and I would actually like Astaroth in particular, once I finish describing the creature, to roll me a cool check. So, the thing that is brought out, dragged by Gruni, looks like a man, initially, for all intents and purposes. Looks like a normal human being that is wearing kind of some basic, what you could describe as rags, practically a sackcloth. But what immediately gets everyone's attention is that despite looking like kind of a frail, emaciated man, maybe in his early 40s, late 30s, is that in the center of his forehead, instead of having two eyes like a normal human, he has one very large eye. This undoubtedly, like, it is, a number of people in the audience start swearing. You hear not a few voices kind of whispering, but you hear one man go, "It's a fucking mutant!" And some people start jeering and throwing things from the audience. They're throwing pieces of food and stuff at this creature. It is being pelted, and trying to kind of defend itself and shrink away. But anytime it does so, the dwarf jabs at it with his pointy stick and continues dragging it around the arena. A few people faint at the horror of witnessing this creature, but it is undoubtedly a mutant.
Glance over Astaroth, make sure he's not about to make another speech.
No. It is not like it's not a. It's a mutant man. It's not like a beast man, right? His feet don't have hooves or
no.
hairy.
If it was not for the cyclopean eye, he would. If he was wearing if he had a bandage wrapped around his head, you would not even be able to tell he was a mutant.
Okay. And that was a challenging cool test, or
yeah, the difficulty.
Difficult.
Yeah, let's say challenging. And I will tell you why in a moment. So, whether or not you want to re-roll this is up to you, but what I will add as a piece of information is this. You swore an oath back in Altdorf in the desire to become a member of the Knights Panther and taking on the role of a squire. And one of the tenets of your knightly order, very explicitly, is suffer not the mutant to live. Not only that, but being someone who has lived in civilization, this is immensely illegal, regardless of how you feel about the mutant edict. On one hand, if you think the mutant edict is wrong, and that mutants deserve to be purged because they are evil. They are creatures corrupted by chaos who want nothing more than to drag the rest of us civilized folk with them down into the predations of chaos and bring about the ruination of civilization and life as we know it. And which is what everyone agreed on prior to the edict. This is super illegal because that thing should be fucking dead. It should not be alive, much less used to make money for some seedy carnival hack. Alternatively, if you do feel the mutant edict is fair, you're gonna have to, you're gonna have to deal with how that conflicts with the oath that you made. But if you believe that the mutant edict is just, then that legally is a man. That is a normal human man who is being treated like a parade animal, but worse. And slavery in the Empire is very illegal. And this is debatably even worse than slavery. So, that is the situation you are looking at, regardless of... those are the things that immediately jump to Astaroth's mind. Those 3 key pieces of information. So, what are... You can re-roll the check if you wish, or what will Astaroth do?
I'm going to turn to Sigmund, and I'm ripping his arm because he's sitting next to me, like a little more than I should. I'm not trying to actually hurt him, but I'm just so upset. I'm going to look to him and through gritted teeth, Sigmund, listen to me. That is a fucking mutant.
I can see
We all
that.
know how I feel about mutants, but I have not heard back from the Grandmaster or anybody from the Knights Panther at this time about the edict and how we should follow.
Yeah, we sent
Because
those
it goes-
letters this morning.
Yep, so it's going. I don't have any information to act on.
Oh, you'll have to make a moral judgment. Oh.
You are a member of the Watch, and according to that edict, this is illegal. I think it's illegal because it should be fucking dead, but I'm not going to inconvenience you guys any more than I already have. So rather than shooting it where it stands right now, I'm going to give you the opportunity to help me do something, because regardless of what opinions you and I have on the matter, it's illegal in some way. So something has to be done.
Let us
According
wait.
to that edict, that's just a man, and he is being held captive against his will.
Sigmund, if you want, you can roll a check if you want more information about what this would be like from a Watch perspective, or you could just go based on how you feel about it.
Yeah, I'd like more of a Watch perspective.
If you want, you can roll... I don't think you have Lore Law, but you could roll like an... let's say like an average Lore Empire.
Okay, I've got Lore Reichland.
Lore Reichland's fine, yeah. Ooh, a crit. Nice. So with a success, the thing that immediately jumps to your mind is that yes, this is extremely illegal. But what you're not sure about at all is how is it illegal? Because depending on whether or not the mutant edict is law has very different ramifications. Because if the mutant edict is being treated as a law and is being observed in Bogenhofen, that would mean that this man needs to be freed. Because this is wrong. Like, this would be like just abducting someone off the street and putting them through this for the entertainment of others just for kicks and giggles. This would be the sort of thing that you would be brutally cracking down on. Alternatively, however, if the mutant edict is not law and not being observed in Bogenhofen as law, then this is still super illegal because that's a mutant. And having a mutant is borderline heresy to the extent that really and truly Dr. Malthusius should probably be placed under arrest and dragged before the courts. However, the issue is that you're not sure which interpretation would be correct because the mutant edict is, you're not that well versed in the law yourself. And the other issue is that imperial law can be very convoluted and difficult. And the other thing is that it was an edict set forth by the Reichland Diet or the Emperor, not a law. There is a distinct difference there. And that may not be recognized within Bogenhofen, but there would be no way to know that without speaking to an authoritative figure within Bogenhofen to get their judgment on the situation. So the situation is that something definitely illegal is happening here, but you're not sure exactly what. And with what the crit, I will tell you is that although you are a member of the Nuln Watch, you do not have any authority here.
Yeah. In Visenland, I might have some authority still. Born in Reichland, though.
Yeah, you've got literally nothing here. And you have no idea what Bogenhofen's laws are. So even if you are uncomfortable with this situation, to leap in and act before you know what would be the correct thing to do could land you and your fellows in a serious amount of legal trouble.
Yeah. With the crit as well, can I know if talking to either a judge like Heinz Richter or the Graf would be the more appropriate? Like, which one of those
exactly
two?
What I was thinking.
Yeah, so in this scenario, it would be very appropriate to either talk to the Watch or the Judge Richter. Those would both be very appropriate options, and you feel fairly confident with that crit that the local Watch would probably be very interested to know, if you were on this Watch, you would be very interested to know about someone peddling mutants.
Yeah, especially that contingent that almost arrested Astaroth. We were having a discussion over stealing stuff.
Yeah.
So
do you kind of relay that information to me?
Yeah, just like, even if we were to act, it's jumping up right now and trying to stop this would accomplish nothing. We need to figure out if the edict is law here.
The last little bit I'll give you as part of that crit as well is that the crowd is also very fired up, and in your experience as a member of the Watch, if someone were to attack like that very suddenly, it would result in one of two things. Either y'all would be attacked by people attempting to stop you from ruining the performance or, threatening violence, or the even worst case scenario, you could spark a riot.
Let's not do those.
So, having gotten this information from Sigmund, I'm going to get up, get out of the tent, and start sprinting back towards the fairgrounds myself because I failed my cool test. I'm trying to find this group of Watch, and I'm going to find it. It's just the last thing I'll do.
All right, so you start to stand up, and kind of like, excuse me, making your way towards. But as you're doing so, the mutant is finally dragged out of the room, and as you're sort of discreetly, not very discreetly, but discreetly enough, making your way out, and you're not the only person to leave. There are actually a couple of, very few, but there are a small handful of individuals who also get up and start leaving, though you can see on their faces it's from disgust. Now, why they might be disgusted is hard to tell. But you start making your way out. And as you do so, and you kind of reach the entryway that leads out the entrance of the tent, Dr. Malthusius turns and goes, "And of course, a creature that many of you may be familiar with, the ghastly three-legged goblin of Grisenwald." And you see Gurney dragging out a familiar creature. By the way, Sigmund, are you staying in your seat or are you going with Astaroth?
Yeah, he's now in. Okay, let's see what else we can figure out this guy's in trouble for.
Okay.
Just sitting here watching.
Just because I love to try and reward crits as much as I can, I will also give you a little bonus of, wait, isn't that goblin also a mutant? Anyway, so as Gruni drags out this goblin, you can tell just looking at it that this goblin has been beaten profusely in the mere, like, at most 30, 40 minutes that have passed. It is bleeding from several cuts. It has noticeable bruises that have shown up across its body. And the goblin it looks like it's very defeated. Where its kind of head is down and is just sort of being dragged after the dwarf. But the second you get out in front of the audience and Gruni turns his head to make sure that he is not about to, like, walk into something, the goblin suddenly rears up and bites into his hand with just needle-sharp teeth. So Gruni shouts and lets go of the goblin, grabbing at his hand, and the goblin takes off in a sprint. And the crowd panics. Everybody immediately starts standing up, tripping over one another, and the goblin is not beelining for where Astaroth is standing by the entrance. It's beelining for the wall, because the fortress wall is essentially kind of the backdrop to the stage in the center, or the dirt path that's being down is center stage. And the goblin is running, and you and Astaroth can immediately see that there is a hole in the wall. There's a sewer grate, and the goblin is heading right for it.
Can I attempt to shoot it with my bow?
You may.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to shoot it because it's the second time that this happened.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
what do you want
chasing
to do?
after it.
All right. So, Sigmund, you may make an athletics check to try and get to the goblin, to see if you're able to kind of like shove through people fast enough to get onto the ground and try and intercept it. And Astaroth, you could just go ahead and roll me a shooting attack with your bow. Though you are going to be at a -10 penalty because it is small and you are trying not to hit anybody else in the room.
Okay.
So do keep in mind. Oh, you already rolled. Okay. Luckily, you did not roll a fumble. So no, you just miss. The shot thuds into the ground, but luckily it doesn't hit anyone. Sigmund, do either of you want to try and re-roll? I should say. Before
I'll re-roll that.
Okay, just remember
that's a 14% chance of succeeding.
And if you fumble, something very bad may happen, but I won't stop you.
Yeah, I will re-roll because I'm just trying to chase it. So even a fumble can't go exceedingly poor.
So you believe.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's too many people, and a lot of people are like shrinking back in your direction because it's away from the goblin. So you kind of just run into them, and you all tumble onto the ground. And Astaroth, you fire a shot, but unfortunately, it doesn't connect. And the goblin runs up to the wall, and
I haven't actually re-rolled yet.
Oh, are you going to re-roll? Go ahead if you'd like to.
So it's just re-roll, right? Not add +1 success level?
You just right-click on it and say use a fortune point to re-roll. All right, yeah, no, you just missed. Okay. You fire off a shot, and your arrow just thuds into the ground and into the dirt, and the goblin runs up to the wall where there is a small wall. It does have an iron grating on it to try and prevent things from getting in and out. However, the grating has rusted, and there's just enough space that the goblin is able to squeeze itself into the hole and vanishes to wherever that goes. Potentially, and very likely, into the city of Bogenhofen itself. Meanwhile, outside, Lenny and Dorothandrel, the two of you exit out as you hear the audience behind you. All just a rumbling of murmuring conversation as everyone's excited for the show to begin. Where would the two of you like to go? I believe that the unconscious halfling is with Sigmund, if I recall correctly. So we do not need to worry about P in this instance.
Lenny,
Yeah.
I think I want to go see that Margaret again.
Again? Why?
I have a definite desire to not get hurt walking in your, well, not your, but this empire. Manticores, vampires, bounty and witch hunters, I am fine with those threats. This empire seems to be just full of awful things waiting to spring upon any passerby.
Yeah? Sounds
And
about
I
right.
don't want that.
Well, if you're if you
And she's
want to
close
check in with
and
her
has
again,
a stool in the shade.
also pretty nice, and it's empty. Not too many people. You know, I'll come with you too.
All right, y'all gonna make your way back to Mystic Margaret?
Yes.
All right, so y'all begin wandering your way back a little ways north. Luckily, it's not too far of a walk. And as you're walking away from Dr. Malthusius's tent, or the Zoocopeia, you hear something shouting about something hairy horror. You kind of make out, and you hear a lot of oohing and awing from the audience, but nonetheless carry on. And after a few minutes, you find yourselves once more outside of the tent of the strange mystic Margaret.
See, Lenny's just like trying to hype himself up to go back in.
And as you arrive, you see a young woman actually leave, and she looks quite pleased. She's got like a little bit of her cheeks are flushed, and she looks quite pleased with herself about something. As she walks out and almost stumbles into the two of you, and she says, "Oh, pardon me," and she kind of gives like a little bit of a curtsy before standing up and kind of moving around you and back off into the festival.
Good business. All right. Well.
There can be happy futures here.
I guess. Well, not everyone's fate is as bad as ours.
Northander will look at Lenny. I'm fairly certain it is.
You say so. Lenny will take a peek behind the curtain.
Margaret?
You hear from within, What? Who is it? Come in!
This one wants another, wants to know about his safety.
Northander will limp in, going half his normal speed.
As she sees you enter, she goes, I see you've befallen a terrible fate.
It did not involve a rose dripping blood, or 7 men. Does a dwarf count as a man? He did have a dark demeanor.
At that, she kind of like, she opens her mouth to answer, but then her mouth kind of closes, and she looks like kind of up to the side, and you can tell she's doing some considerations before she kind of just sort of shrugs. And she just sort of comfortably slouches back to her chair when she realizes it's just you and no one else coming in.
I'm here too. I'll peek behind Dorothandrel.
She goes, yes.
In any case, I've had a stiff drink and come to the thought that I indeed want to take you up on your offer.
Ah, you seek to learn the ways, then. Good. I can teach you. Yes, have a seat.
Dorothandrel sits down, wincing at his ankle.
She looks up at you, Lynn, and she goes, "You get out!"
I can't even pay to listen.
You could pay to have your fortune told again.
Oh. Would I learn anything new?
Yes.
Okay.
Roll a challenging intuition check.
Uh-huh. Hey.
Yeah, no, you definitely get the distinct feeling that all she wants is your money. Whether or not she's actually going to say anything useful to you is, who knows.
Maybe later. Best of luck though, Dora. I'll be outside.
Dory, not Dora.
Alright.
I will give Lenny 4 pennies for his to go get a drink.
Can do. Thank you. That's the one thing that's good in this place. And he'll leave.
It's not good.
There is a beer tent, like just across the little walk path. If you want to just go straight there.
Yep, just beeline straight for it.
All right. Roll me a average consume alcohol test. While Dorthandel, you get to have a fairly intimate discussion with Mystic Megrit, and she drops a lot of the pretense. You're a little drunker, unless you want to spend a fortune point to reroll. How many points of drunkenness are you at?
I think this is my 3rd. I am very drunk.
You are about to start running into some serious issues.
Sick.
Anyway, just add another point of drunkenness then.
Thank you.
You are Dorthandrel, you get to have a fairly frank discussion with Mystic Margaret. She kind of drops away all the pretense. She lets her accent even changes as she talks far more frankly, and she goes, "Ah, yes, well, I will teach you what I can for the moment. Obviously, it's going to take a fair amount of personal practice, as you're going to have to learn to understand what it is you're seeing, but I can help you look for the traces that the world is trying to show you, the little waves and lines that you can look into at just the right angle, whether you're looking into the stars or whether you're looking through appropriate things." And she kind of gestures the crystal ball. She says, "This is just a toy. It doesn't actually do anything. What I see is through my mind. I can envision things by sort of reaching out and connecting with people. Connecting, you could almost say, with their spirits and seeing where it may take them. But it's a fuzzy thing. It's very rarely easy to understand, much less to express into words, and even more difficult to make into something applicable, something that can be easily understood until it suddenly happens, and then it all makes sense. All too often, being able to see the future can come at a deep price. You may see things that you do not wish to see. And you may...
future.
Yes. With the knowledge that, while perhaps it can be, shall we say, reinterpreted, it may not be possible to stop it. But not everyone feels that way. I learned this gift from my parents. My father was quite gifted in the art, and he was very staunchly of the opinion that man makes his own fate, and believed that you could change the things you see. However, I saw him getting run over by a pair of draft horses, and that's ended up being what happened, despite his staunch refusal to the possibility. So, whether or not he was right, well, you get the point. And she spends quite a bit of time talking with you, and basically encourages you to come back to see her as often as you can over the next few days, to teach you more with time. after about 45 minutes of y'all talking and conversing and having some back and forthing. And the big thing is, the more she talks, you are suspicious of the fact that she might not be able to see the winds of magic. Because she doesn't seem to talk about it necessarily in a way that you would expect. But the more she talks and the more frank she begins to talk, you suddenly realize that after a bit of back and forthing, that no, she can see the winds of magic. She absolutely can see the winds of magic. She just does not realize that is what she is seeing.
Okay, that was going to be a question I was going to ask about. If this is some limited human winds of magic reading, the like signs and wiggles in the air that she's talking about connecting people.
Yeah, that being said, you realize what the miscommunication was and why you weren't able to necessarily put that together. Is because when she is talking about how she sees things, you become quite assured of the fact that the way she sees the winds is not pure. There almost seems to be some kind of interference, or there is something that she is seeing in addition to it. And the way she talks about it, there are occasional mentions she makes about the feeling of presence, presences, of spirits, of those guiding her visions along the proper paths. And she keeps coming back to that discussion of visions. And among the elves, visions as a concept, they do exist, but generally it is through a wizard very specifically attempting to cast. It is exceedingly rare for elves to have spontaneous visions outside of the influence of the gods. And that is what finally kind of locks in the idea for you of what you suspect may be happening because Megret is human, is that her magic may be somehow being influenced by her faith, or some kind of spirit or something. You've seen it with humans before. You've seen it with the priests of Mathlan Manon, that the humans have on their ships back in Marienburg. You've seen it as you've wandered throughout the Empire. And it's something that is talked about a fair bit among elves, that humans have these really bizarre priests that say they're not wizards, but they're definitely using magic. And Megret falls under that same situation in a sense. But she does have magical ability, and she can see the winds of magic, and she can even interact with them. And that's the thing that really excites you the more you talk with her, is she actually showcases for you a little bit of her ability to actually manipulate the winds, as she does a few essentially kind of basic readings while walking you through the process of tapping into the mystic arts. And you begin to realize that she is quite literally drawing the wind of Azir to herself. Roll me a minus. Nah, you're pretty drunk. Yeah, but no, it's going to be very hard to see. Roll me a minus 10 perception check. Oh, that was almost a 2. Oh no, you still passed though. Look at you being all elfy.
Elfy.
Oh wait, drunkenness doesn't affect initiative, does it?
No, it does not.
Wait, is perception initiative? No, perception is...
Yeah, perception is initiative.
Okay. Oh, well, great. Lucky for you then. So you do perceive of the winds that she is drawing upon Azir, very obviously, to look into the future. But she's not separating the winds. She doesn't seem to have the capability of pulling the winds individually apart, which is normally how humans wield magic, because it's quite dangerous to just wield the winds as is, because that could very easily lead to dark magic. But what you notice is that there are, within these overall lines of Azir that she is pulling upon and manipulating, there are threads, almost like coils of hish or light magic wrapped around all of the Azir, almost seeming to guide or buoy it, as if Hish is exerting some sort of influence upon the Azir that she is looking at. And there's even every once in a while little hints of other colors, just due to the messiness of that. Her control over magic is very unexact, so to speak. But you are able to learn a significant amount from this discussion, and from seeing her perform her art, to the extent that if you wish to pay the appropriate experience, being 100 experience if you've completed your current career, or 200 experience if you have not, you may, before you leave Bogenhofen, transition into the Mystic career, if you would be so inclined.
All right, I'll spend it now.
Awesome. So become a baby Mystic, whatever that's called. I forget. All right, so go ahead.
Question.
Yes.
Actually, I'll do it later after Dorthandil's had more time to consider all of this. Trying to guide her through questions about separating the winds better. While he's not gifted, he had some training, and he wants to see if she can do better.
We will come back around to that. we'll come back around to that. Lenny, you're over at the beer tent, and you hear a lot of people rumbling and talking about various things. Is there anything you would like to do other than just enjoying your drink?
I'd like to hear about any... I guess I'd just like to know if there's any ferocious beasts in the area, and he talks about like how wild this area is.
Sure. Roll me a average gossip check. Would you like to would you like to keep it or re-roll it?
Nah, I'll keep it.
All right. You hear a lot of hemming and hawing and chats, and you do sort of drunkenly enter a few conversations, and as you are sort of untactfully asking about dangerous beasts and critters, you do hear one man say, "Oh, yes, it's quite dangerous outside the walls of Bogenhofen. The hamlet of Stuss was overrun by mutants and beastmen from the forest. I was just passing through there with my cousin, and all that remains are just piles of skulls and broken bones. Things are getting dangerous, and the Emperor's not doing anything."
It's terrifying. Good to know, though.
And as you're having that conversation, suddenly, and this also is as the conversation is with Murgret has kind of reached not a stopping point, but you've gotten through a lot of the major information. Both of you hear screams coming from the direction that you had come from earlier. And only a few seconds later, lots of people are running away from the direction the Zoocopeia was in. And you see watch patrols running in the direction that the people are running away from.
Finally, some action. I'll get up and look for Dory. Yo! Elf!
What?
People are... bunch of screaming people coming from where we left the other two.
You know, maybe I am good at this foresight thing.
Oh?
Or it was obvious. Perhaps we should make sure.
Margaret looks up and says, you notice her accent comes back the second Lenny enters the room. She goes, "Ah, yes! Get out of my tent! It's time for my tea! Beyond!"
Okay. Lenny will step out.
Dorthander will leave and go to find out what terrible beast has broken free of its iron collar made of paper mache.
All right. As y'all go running back towards the Zoocopeia, in the Zoocopeia, Sigmund and Astaroth, people are screaming. They're scattering. People are shoving past one another. There is a loose goblin, and everyone is suddenly worried. Some people are not. Everyone is in a panic, but a lot of people are in a panic, and it's causing a big fuss. Most people are running out, and you see Dr. Malthusius is holding his hands in sort of almost like the sign of what we would know as a prayer in front of his face, the kind of the classic like concern meme. And he's looking over at Gruni, who's nursing his wounded hand, and he's kind of like wrapping it up as it's got blood dribbling from where the goblin bit him. It does not. It feels like only a few heartbeats before you hear a "Make way! Make way! Get out of the way! Watch! Get out of the way!" And the sound of armored individuals pushing their way into the tent. It's not the same group from earlier. It's a different group. But they walk in, and Dorthandrel and Linny are quite literally right behind them. What's all this then? What's all this?
Astaroth and Sigmund ran away to a different place, right?
They were about to, and then the goblin got out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still inside the tent. Kind of. I'm by the door.
What happened? How goes? Was the show good?
I will note, before the watch do arrive, Gruni does sort of slip out in the direction of the other exhibits. And Malthusius sort of is seemingly expecting them and waiting for them to appear in the tent. But the watch kind of spread out and immediately just start interrogating like everybody, trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
I'm standing like 10 feet away from Dr. Malthusius, just with my arms crossed looking at him like, oh boy.
Do any of you want to approach the watch, or do you kind of want to see what plays out for a moment?
I'll give like a motion like, hey, I got information for you at them.
Astaroth, you dude.
I'm standing next to Sigmund. I'm very curious to see what the watch is going to say.
All right. As they're getting people to calm down, trying to get people out of their hysterics and everything, figure out what the hell's happening. One of them starts approaching towards y'all, and Dr. Malthusius kind of swoops in to intercept. And he goes, "Oh, good, the watch is here. Please, gentlemen. It would seem that there's been a minor mishap, and one of my exhibits unfortunately has escaped. You see, we had a goblin, a greenskin that was part of the experience." And quite unfortunately, the nasty little bastard managed to assault my dear companion. And while he is having his wound tended to, I, of course, remain behind to inform you about the situation. But it would seem that the goblin escaped into the sewer. And at this mention, you can see the watch go from kind of a, okay, yeah, whatever. The moment he mentions the sewer, you can see them get the look of, oh, shit.
There's someone who's clearly in charge.
Yes, there is a. When Malthusius kind of starts his tale, there's one man who clearly kind of he carries himself as the man in charge. With he's older gentleman, definitely got a few notable scars that are obvious on the right side of his face, as well as you can see a few creeping up from where his skin is visible at the top of his shirt. And he's also got a very, very nicely waxed mustache. Seems to be just a watch sergeant. But he's sort of nodding along to Malthusius' story until he gets to the sewer part and goes, "By the gods."
Not only that, sir. Creatures, at least some of them, are mutants. He is a man with 3 eyes. The goblin had 3 legs.
The man had 1 eye, not 3. It was
one eye. The goblin had 3 legs. That's what I meant to say.
When you're so drunk, it had 3 eyes. So the moment you mention mutants, all of the watch frown, especially the captain, and he goes, "Mutants? What's this about mutants? You're sure there were mutants?"
Absolutely. And everyone who was in the tent witnessed it. He is a man with one eye and a goblin with 3 legs. I don't know what else he might have back there, but those are the mutants that I've seen.
As you say this, all of the watch, their heads, when you finish talking, swing over to look at Malthusius, and he just sort of gives this like really innocent looking smile and sort of like shrugs his shoulders a little bit, like.
Oopsie.
Yeah, like he doesn't really have anything to say at the moment. He goes, "I can assure you, gentlemen, I had no idea the goblin was a mutant. We simply picked it up outside of Grisdenwald. I thought all the goblins of Grisdenwald had 3 legs."
I'm sure you have seen many men in your life to know that eyeballs growing on foreheads is not an attribute of the average human male.
Well, that creature, I can assure you, is purely for the edification of our fellows over at the Colleges of Magic. They have been sending out requests for people to bring them mutants for study, thanks to the new mutant edict, of course. The moment that gets mentioned, the watch sergeant just raises his hand and pinches the top of the bridge of his nose and lets out a sigh, and he goes, "All right, then. All of you with us. We're going to see the judge. You. And he points at Malthusius, and you, Astaroth, and also you, Sigmund, because you're standing next to Astaroth, and he goes, "Come on. Let's take it. We're going to see the judge."
Fair enough.
All right.
Dorothandrel and Lenny, are y'all going to follow your companions as they are dragged towards the festival court?
Lenny, can you help
Yeah.
me get pee?
Yeah, I'll drag her along. Then we'll go look around for her.
I presume Sigmund still has her.
Yeah.
Halflings
I
are not
presumed he'd
hard.
Left her at a seat.
Like, it probably looks like Sigmund just has his toddler with him. He's just kind of like holding her over his shoulder. They're like, "Oh yes, bring the concerned father as well." So you are able to make your way over to the court. Y'all are dragged over there. The watch yelling at everyone to get out of the way. And talk is clearly already spreading about what happened. A lot of people talking about an escaped goblin. Eventually, you do make your way back to the court of Heinz Richter, whose picture I will throw back up just as a reminder in case y'all don't remember what he looks like. And as you are all dragged into the tent before Herr Richter, the watch bring in. He goes, whoa, what's all this then? What's happening? What's happening? And the watch kind of come over and they're whispering in his ear, and he's sort of nodding and his chin's warbling a little bit every time he does. And he sits back and he goes, "Oh, this is quite troubling. Escaped goblin mutants and who are these? Who are these?" And he's gesturing at the 4 of you in particular. And the watch goes, these are the witnesses. And he goes, right then, step forward, gentlemen, give your account. And he does recognize you in particular, Astaroth, and he goes, yes, the noble do-gooder, yes, this man has demonstrated integrity, Herzenstein, was it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Explain what happened.
The man in charge of the spectacle show has mutants in his possession. He has a man with one eye on his forehead and a goblin with 3 legs that has now escaped twice today already, and upon its second escape has been successful, and is now currently running around the sewers of your city. He may very well have other mutants in his possession, and they should be eradicated.
Richter sort of his hand comes up and sort of strokes at his chin thoughtfully, and he goes, "Anything you other gentlemen would like to add?" And he's gesturing to the other three of you.
Dorothandra will shrug. I was not there. I am merely an associate of theirs.
I saw the goblin escape the first time, along with loads of other people.
Yes. And you, sir, with the is that a halfling?
Yes, it is.
Is she all right?
Yeah, she's just sleeping off her enjoyment of your wonderful festival.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, all of the walking and talking and sweating and everything y'all have done, you may all remove a point of drunkenness.
Thank you.
You are sobering up, ever so slightly.
How do?
So if you go to your character sheet, under effects, there's temporary effects drunkenness. Just click the delete item bin once, and it will remove one of your drunkenness.
Cool.
Nice.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm no longer drunk. Fix that after this.
So after that, Richter, the judge, turns to Malthusius and goes, "What do you have to say for yourself, Dr. Malthusius?" And the good doctor steps up in front of everyone and goes, I can assure you, my good judge, that all of my exhibits, all of our displays are completely legal. The colleges of magic have sent out various requests for mutant specimens for the sake of better understanding the mutant condition, especially in light of the Emperor's edict, which allows such studies to be legal now. So I was merely transporting these specimens to Altdorf, where they may be turned into the colleges of magic, as they have been requested to do so. But I do understand that the nature of the escaped goblin is, of course, of great concern to the citizenry of Bogenhofen, and as a concerned member of the citizenship myself, and it is very important that I, of course, play my part in cleaning up this menace, as I obviously am already involved. So I will offer up, I will pay 5 gold crowns for the recapture of my specimen. And
Herr Richter,
go ahead.
If what the doctor says is true, he still has enslaved a citizen of the Empire and is profiting off of said possession of a human being. If this mutant he has in his menagerie is for the colleges.
And I will, Ben, in answer to your question, he's very much on the charlatan side of things. Like, he's trying to make himself look higher class, but, like, he's far too seedy looking to really pull it off. He talks
okay, so he's
well enough.
obviously not a doctor.
Oh, yeah, no. If he is definitely not a doctor of anything that would be worthy of respect. I'll put it that way.
All right, good.
What? Sorry, go ahead.
Richter sort of nods and says, "Yes, well then, that is troubling. I will say that,
What my companion has said is true, Your Honor.
That's enough. That's enough, sir. That's enough. I've heard what everyone has to say. You had your chance to speak. Be quiet." And he sort of hems and haws for a moment, before finally saying, "Right then, we shall have this other specimen inspected immediately, Malthusius, and if it is found to be a mutant of that sort, I shall make a ruling accordingly, and we shall deal with that issue as it comes. But in regards to the goblin, I think that Malthusius' offer is welcomed, and the festival court will match from the town's purse the reward. So we will have a 10 gold crown reward for the recapture of this goblin. And Lenny is what he looks at you in particular. He says, and since these gentlemen already spoke about having been involved in the goblin's recapture once before, you gentlemen, you shall capture the beast again. It should be a simple enough task. You've done it before. This should be quite simple. This should not be too onerous a task, and you will be paid once you have finished. Is that acceptable, gentlemen?
Your Honor, I have one question. I did hear that the sewers are no longer being cleaned or patrolled in recent weeks.
Yes, well, Master...
Do we need some kind of certification to go in?
What is your name, Master Elf?
Dorothandril Dandyheart.
Yes, Air Dandyheart. Unfortunately, the watch patrol has been quite busy with the Schaffenfest. We are sorely taxed as is, so you are correct that patrols of the sewers have been called off for the time being due to the increased manpower needed for the Schaffenfest. However, yes, I will ensure that the four of you receive permission to go down into the sewers to deal with this dilemma. I will make sure it is cleared with the watch. In fact, Sergeant, make sure that the four of them are guided to the appropriate sewer entrance in regards to where this creature may have fled to. And the man nods, looking suddenly miserable that he has been assigned more work.
Thank you, Your Honor. I do have a question. In lieu of 5 gold crowns, we have a friend who has had difficulties getting his poultry vetted as poultry because it is merely too big compared to what others are bringing. My understanding is birds are poultry, and he has brought a large, well, not a... What was the creature? A hippogriff?
Yes, a hippogriff.
A hippogriff, that's...
And with how stretched thin your men are for the Schaffenfest, we would very much like you to work out if the hippogriff is indeed poultry as a bird and can be sold in your wonderful Schaffenfest.
What is with this day? Mutants and goblins and hippogriffs. I will consider the affair. If you gentlemen perform your task, I will take up your case and consider it.
Thank you.
But for now, also, and he kind of turns to one of his a fantasy version of a stenographer, note taker. He says, also ensure that these gentlemen receive accommodations at the Journey's End Inn for further services to the town. And the person nods and makes some scribbles, and he goes, "Gentlemen, you will be afforded a free stay at the Journey's End. You may go there to drop off your supplies and take a moment. But I would like you to get on this matter immediately, this evening." And he kind of taps his table for emphasis, and he goes, "And you, Dr. Malthusius," and he sort of Malthusius sort of like gives that grin again that clearly is used on a regular basis to try and get him out of trouble. He says, "If I were you, I would hope sincerely that they are successful in the capture of this errant creature. Otherwise, we shall be having words again. Especially in regards to this other entity, this other display of yours." And Malthusius pales considerably. And with that, he smacks down his gavel and stuff and goes, "Dismissed! Thank you! Off with you all."
Aye, so shall it be, and I'll make my way out.
Lenny will go to Malthusius. So, Are you gonna help us at all? Is there any information we should know about this goblin before we go looking for it for you?
Malthusius is kind of wringing his hands, and he's kind of he takes a little rag, like it would be a handkerchief if it was washed on a regular basis. It's quite stained, and he's dabbing at his sweating forehead, and he goes, yes, well, I mean, it's a goblin. It's a small goblin. It's quite fast, the little bastard, but other than that, I'm not sure what I could say that would help you in this instance, though you will be handsomely rewarded. And he sort of leans forward and he goes, particularly if you bring it back alive, I would be most appreciative. I will ensure you're rewarded. He goes, I know, obviously we've started off on not the best foot, but I can assure you, gentlemen, that I am quite sincere in performing my duty to the colleges of magic. I'm only trying to do what's best for the Empire, you see.
Honestly, Sigmund, this guy's kind of gross. This isn't really my style. Can you talk to him?
Malthusius looks a little hurt by your words.
We will do our best to capture it alive, but we also
the sewers must be very dangerous right now, and it was injured. It's unlikely it survived.
Yes, also our duty to protect the citizens of the Empire comes before bringing back a green skin alive.
Yes, well, do what you must.
I mean,
but
you could provide us with some medical supplies if you really are concerned, and they might help it live long enough to get back.
Ooh, roll me a charm check. This is gonna be opposed.
I give a drunken smile.
Decent drunken smile.
So you do. I'm gonna roll. Where are my dice? I just had them. Where'd they go? There they are. Ha! Okay. Malthusius sorta, he smiles at you, and it looks like a very genuine smile. And he sort of smirks and he goes, "Oh, I'm sure you gentlemen will do quite fine. Worst case scenario, I will accept, of course, just bringing back the body. After all, they say they are studying the mutant condition. They didn't necessarily say anything about bringing them alive. The creature alive would be worth far more, of course, with the exhibits, but I suppose I could have it stuffed."
Where did you capture this goblin?
I told you, we found it outside of Grisdenwald.
Grisdenwald.
Yeah, if you have Lore Empire, you can roll easy check.
Yeah, weren't you watching the show?
I couldn't remember.
Oh.
Nice.
There we go.
Yeah, Grisdenwald is a little ways north. It's there are like it's located fairly close to it's kind of amidst the forest, so you're not really surprised that they were able to find a goblin, much less a mutated goblin, somewhere in that ballpark. That does not shock you whatsoever in the slightest. Grisdenwald is a place that is often kind of you've been fortunate enough to hear a few rumors about it. It has its more than its fair share of troubles. All right, the sergeant walks up, and two of the other watch walk up to Malthusius and kind of usher him away to go see this other mutant creature you mentioned. And they walk away with him. Meanwhile, the sergeant walks up, looking quite like, says, "All right, come with me, gentlemen. Do you want to go straight to the sewer, or do you wish to stop by the inn first?"
I believe we should drop off our little halfling companion.
Wise.
as well as some gear.
I
Yeah.
have some things I'd like not to get covered in sewage.
Very well. Follow me, gentlemen. And he leads you out of the tent and takes you back into the city of Bogenhofen. And thanks to having him with y'all, they're able to chase everyone out of y'all's way quite easily. You're able to make your way back into the gates without any issues whatsoever. And you are able to stop by the journey's end. It is approaching nighttime. It is getting close to dusk. Or no, it is dusk. It's getting close to dark, I should say. And as you make your way into the city proper, amidst all of the walking and the talking, because it does take a fair bit to walk over to the inn, you may remove another point of drunkenness if you have it.
While we're walking, can I ask the sergeant where to find the various temples in the city?
Yes. He points and says, "Oh, well, you're going to want to head over to the Gottenplatz. The Gottenplatz is where the temples to all the gods can be found." Which the Gottenplatz is right here. Yeah. So this is the Gottenplatz, and it has, you can see all the temples are labeled. So you've got like the Temple of Ulrich, Temple of Mermidia, the High Temple of Sigmar, which is the really giant building in the center. And then you've got Bogenauer over here, the River God, Verena, and Hendrik are all the major recognized shrines.
Yeah, they're not labeled on our map.
Oh,
So
they're not?
on your top left, the column, there's a bookmark with another bookmark inside of it. Select that, and it should allow you to toggle notes.
Top left.
There's a column, actors, measuring, cubes, a pencil. This is for players.
A
The
wall.
players have to toggle.
Oh, the bookmark.
There's a bookmark, and under the bookmark, there's a toggle note display.
Ah!
So that you can choose whether the notes are showing or not for each person. Or they choose if they have them up.
Okay. I have toggled it.
So the other thing is, if they don't have access to the journal entry, they can't see some of them.
Okay, so I need to go into my journal and open up... What would I open up in that case? Would I open up, like, the chapter or the map?
So if you double right-click any of the pins, there's a checkbox that pops up, say, globally visible.
Ah, cool.
So
Thank
you can individually, as they come up, display what we know.
All right. Okay, so actually, I won't mark these yet. Just know they're in the Gutenplatz. I'll leave it at that. But I will add the Journey's End, so y'all can see where that is. So it's actually right next to the gate y'all are passing through. All right, and then we will have the Schaffenfest up as well as the Postern Gate, and the East Gate. All right, I think those are all the major things y'all have visited thus far. Because Lock, Stock, and Barrels was not a real place, so that is not on the map. Y'all did pass through here. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so I can just add these as y'all explore them, which is cool. Yes, and I will make the obvious ones visible. So, like, this is the Gutenplatz. The High Temple of Sigmar is painfully obvious, even from a crazy distance. So I will have that marked as well. Cool. All right, great. So you make your way over to the Journey's End. The Journey's End Inn. It's a very large, respectable inn. As very, like, when you walk in, it has quite comfortable furnishings. The staff is very attentive. Like, almost as soon as y'all walk in, there are servants walking up, offering to take your things from you. Someone is offering to carry pee. Sigmund, as you walk in, one of the servants kind of walks up and is like, "Sir, would you like me to run your shirt and things through a quick bath, perhaps, or just wash it off for you very, very briefly?"
Well, it was Astaroth that got thrown up on. I just took her after he was going to run.
Pretend I said Astaroth.
Yep.
Yes, that would be wonderful. Thank
All
you.
But yeah, as you walk into the main structure, it does have a large common room. There's tables all over the place. There's a central fire pit. There's even a small stage in the corner where people can perform. There's actually some musicians performing right now. Though there's like a woman up there who has like something that's kind of like a small harp that's singing as she plays. And then it's a 3-story building, so there's 2 more stories above. And you are able to. The watch sergeant actually meets with the innkeeper, an attractive woman in her late 30s named, and you are introduced to her as Adelina Landau, and she, y'all have a little bit of she has a back and forth with the sergeant before sort of nodding, and she pulls out 4 keys, and they are, you are each given a key. And instructed that you can go ahead and have the 4, when you go up the stairs to the first floor, the first 4 rooms on your left are y'all's. And they are being covered by the town.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Northandrel, would you like to have pee in your room?
I'm almost drunk enough to make a joke out of that. But she can say that.
All right. Y'all gonna drop off all of your things?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Currently have
Northen will
any
empty
drop
his
off.
many encumbrance of random knickknacks and floor brushes and the tent.
Yeah. I will
And
make a
your
note.
Nice silverware.
Yeah.
The nice silverware is going nowhere near the sewer.
Yeah. Do note you are about to go down into the sewers, so I would recommend thinking carefully about what you want to take with you. You are about to go down into somewhere where it is very dark and very gross and very smelly.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave my hat, my cloak, probably take off my uniform, so I just have my clothing and armor. We'll leave the very nice Nolan handgun behind.
All right.
Yeah, I actually do the same. I'm going to take off my cloak. And the sausage I bought in Altdorf.
Yeah, no cloak.
All right. After you've all taken off everything that you do not wish to take with you, make sure your rooms are locked up as you're leaving. You can head downstairs where the sergeant is waiting for you.
Sergeant?
He sort of nods. He goes, "All right, then. 4 of you ready?"
Are you allowed to drink on the job?
He kind of like gives you a little bit of a. He sort of pauses for a moment. He goes, "Depends."
Do you want a pint?
All right, I'll take a pint if you're buying.
Yeah, sure. I'll buy each of us a pint.
You
We
can
go.
get regular beers, but they do have a dwarf breweress here, and she specializes in making her own red ale.
Oh, I'll definitely take some of that then.
All right. He has no problem with you paying. It is going to cost you 1 shilling per. Actually, let's say half a shilling per ale. So 1 shilling for both of you.
Okay.
This will be a challenging consume alcohol test because it is dwarf made. All right. It tastes excellent, and you are not too bothered. It is a very, very finely made. It tastes way better than anything else you've had recently. Dwarf made stuff just hits different.
Oh, I always love to have a dwarf made ale. All right, is everybody ready?
Sergeant nods to you and he goes, I needed that. Very well, gentlemen. Follow me. I'll tell you about the sewers on the way.
On the way, I'd like to go back to the tent where it originally escaped from so I can start trying to track it from there if that's possible.
That will not be necessary, and I'll explain why on the way. So he is going to take you. Let's see. He is going to take you. So the goblin. Oh my gosh. There we go. I'm getting lost on my own maps. The goblin went in around here-ish. If y'all. Oh wait, I'm on the wrong layer. The goblin went in around here-ish. Y'all see me pinging?
Yeah.
So like around this ballpark. So what the watch sergeant explains to you on the way is that there's an entrance right around here, and this is where he is going to let you in. So the goblin will have come from somewhere vaguely southeast of where you're going to be dropped into the sewers, and your goal is to find it. But as he's talking, as y'all are talking and walking, he says, one thing that is worth noting, gentlemen, no one's been down in the sewers for about 3-4 weeks.
I am unfortunately unaware.
Yes, the captain pulled off patrols, so we had all the sewer grates locked. And as you're walking, you find waiting for you at the sewer entrance, there's a manhole cover, and it's this big, heavy piece of iron. And standing by it are 2 men, one of which has brought this kind of almost miniature ladder. Like it's a good like 5-6 foot looking ladder piece, and the other man has a very has a good arm length weird looking metal thing. And as you all approach, the watch sergeant nods to him, and the man picks it up and he inserts it into a hole on the man cover, and he twists it, and you hear a very loud kind of clunk noise, and then the 2 men together grab onto the 2 little handles, and they pull to heave up this heavy cover and sort of drag it off to the side, opening up the sewers, out of which issues a absolutely pungent odor. And the sergeant sort of covers his nose and sits back and goes, ugh, I've never cared for that smell. In any event, gentlemen, as you can note here, this is your entrance. It is also your exit. All of the other manholes are locked. So, you're going to go down here, and when you're ready to leave, you're going to need to find your way back here. Because if you try and go out any of the other manhole entrances, they'll be locked.
And there's not a spare key we could take with us to get out.
Even if I gave you a spare key, you can't open it from that side.
Dorothan will look at this manhole cover.
So if we happen to get lost and don't come back, is anyone coming for us?
He sort of just like stares at you, and he goes, eventually we'll send someone else down to make sure the goblin's dead. It can be dangerous down there. Watch yourselves. Try not to slip and hit your head on anything. And just be careful.
Surely there would be a sewer jack wanting 5 gold crowns. 10.
If we can find them, but on short notice, you 4 will do.
Good enough for me. And Lenny will go down.
Well, so as you say that, they take the little ladder, and it has these little hooks on the end, and they lower it into the sewer grate so that the hooks catch on the edge, so that you can climb down that ladder to get onto the ground below. But it's a little bit of a drop.
Alright, well, thank you for that. Almost just jumped in and broke my legs. And Lenny will climb down the ladder.
Alright, so I am not going to reveal the sewer map to y'all, because y'all don't know how the sewers are organized, but I do. But I have a genuine sewer map that I will be using, that people watching the stream will be able to see, of where you are and where you shall be going. So, you all are able to mosey your way down into the sewers, one after the other. And you make your way down into the dock. Does anybody have a torch?
I have a lantern with lamp oil.
Brilliant. You're really going to want it. It is very dark down here. All right. So let me make sure I am on the right page. We are finally to the sewer section. Hooray! All right. So you're all going to make your way down to the sewers. In order to get on that, you go down a vertical shaft that's about 8 feet to drop onto the one of the pathways that goes along the effluent channel. So running north and south, functionally, from where you all are standing, there is there are large walkways on either side. That being said, the first person down, which was Lenny, because he volunteered, Lenny, you are going to need to make an average athletics check as you get to the bottom of the ladder to kind of hop down and try not to slip and fall into something bad.
All right. Let's see here. Athletics. Challenging?
Yeah, as you're kind of maneuvering your way down into the sewer.
Would like to re-roll.
That's fair. All right.
Hey, there
Well
we go.
done. You are able to get the ladder properly secured into position, make your way down, and hop off onto one of the walkways along this disgusting sewage without falling into it or falling to harm yourself. And thankfully, since you have made it successfully down to the bottom, you are able to properly secure the ladder so that everyone that comes down after you does not have to test.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
So, the four of you make your way down into the depths of the sewer. And I'm assuming you are going to go ahead and light your lantern, Mr. Sigmund.
Yep.
All right. So, looking around, you see that there is a essentially like a north and south junction that is a major channel. And the odor down here is foul. Like you are standing on a walkway that is about 3 feet wide, and then at the end of that 3 feet, where the stone ends in a very kind of sharp cut, there is about a 5-foot channel that is full of just the foulest that Bogenhafen has to offer, especially after a glorious day spent in the Schaffenfest. And then on the other side of that 5-foot channel is another 3 feet of stone ledge. The ceiling goes up about 10 feet, so there's plenty of space above you, and it's kind of like a curved ceiling, so you're almost in a bit of like a semicircle, so to speak. Looking from where you have entered, it is about you are on kind of like a major pathway, so it goes sort of northeast to southwest from where you're currently standing, following along the major road that you're under, that you can kind of see this road here. It sort of follows that road. But you can already see if you head, so essentially you need to pick a direction. But you do notice that across the street from where you entered, so kind of over here, there is a smaller path that goes that direction, which will lead you towards the wall. That being said, is there anything y'all would like to do as you have entered the sewer? And before I say that, I need everyone to roll me a average endurance test, because it is foul down here. Okay, okay. If you fail... Oh, Lenny.
This is the worst place Lenny's been in his life.
If you fail, you're going to vomit. You're just going to kind of vomit into... luckily, there is a lovely 5-foot ditch, essentially, full of already foulness to vomit into. And you are going to gain the nausea symptom until you leave the sewers.
Where is the nausea symptom?
It is, let's see, I need player characters. Boop. And then boop. And then boop. Nausea is, oh my god, which one of these is nausea?
I'll make something. It's only that's hard coded in for diseases, so I'll just make a new disease that gives nausea.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, Ben. All right, y'all are down in the sewers. There is a minor path. There is a junction, actually quite close to you, that leads off towards kind of straight east, towards the wall, and also towards presumably where the goblin entered. But that is a minor path, and in order to get to that path, you are going to have to try and find a way across the effluent, or you could just jump.
Oh, I'm not risking jumping. No, sir.
With that being said, you have now entered the sewers. What will you do, gentlemen?
Zorthandel puts his rain hat firmly on his head and looks above for any effluent dispersal mechanism pipes above the walkway.
There are none at this particular point, but you do see them occasionally appear. Most of them, for the most part, are thankfully coming out of the thing that you are standing on. So there are like pipes that go down in through the walls and out beneath your feet. So it's very unlikely that you will walk in front of something that will then proceed to spew something onto you. That being said, be on your guard down here in the sewers. Dorthandrel, I will just remind you that you do have, of course, Elven vision on top of you have acute sense sight as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have excellent vision, and you also have dark vision?
I also have night vision and a 9-foot pole.
Awesome. Yeah, you can see very, very easily down here. Between elf eyes and acute vision sight and night vision, you have no problem seeing down here. Everyone else, you are very, very reliant on that lantern possessed by
I
Sigmund.
also have a night vision.
Ah, great. You can also see fairly well down here, but you do not have the additional benefits that come with being an elf. Like, you're able to make out shapes very easily. Whereas, like, Dorothandro can almost borderline still see in color, despite the fact that it's dark.
Sorry, are we supposed to have a map?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it's the vision of the mind, because I know what the sewers look like, but y'all don't.
Alright.
You will figure it out as you go.
Sigmund should definitely take lead where he has a lantern. And Eve Dorthandrel, you can see really well in the dark, can't you?
That is worth noting. Regardless of what direction y'all are going to go in, you will need to choose a marching order. So along this street, if y'all would be so kind as to move yourselves into marching order, with the ball being the front and away from the ball being the back.
Sigmund should be in front, I think. I think that would be what's for best.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. Y'all can just be in a vertical line. That's fine. So we can do Sigmund. Who's going to be behind Sigmund?
I'll be behind ya. I got your back.
All right. And then who's behind Lenny?
Astaroth, you want to be at the very back?
I'll take the rear.
All right.
Okay.
Dorthandrel will be in the middle, getting in the way with his 9-foot pole.
Awesome. Something joke, insert, innuendo, something. So what are y'all gonna do? You've got, like I said, you've got a major path heading sort of northeast and southwest if you follow along the current major track you're on. However, you do see a minor entrance that's sort of straight to your right, which would lead you in the direction of where the goblin got in, or you can attempt to do something at the spot you have entered to try and figure out where the goblin might have gone.
I'd like to try to do both if possible. I think if I could look for any signs that the goblin was around here, but I'd also like to go where he came in so I can try and see if I can figure out what direction he went.
Okay. Do you have track or...
I do. I have track.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Roll me a... y'all do have a source of light. Roll me a average perception check. And anybody else that wishes to roll this may do so as well. And y'all can even assist one another if you would like.
Can we assist if we don't have track?
This is perception, so...
No perception, yeah.
Ooh, a crit. Very nice. A crit fail. Cool. Okay.
Well, these were just assists.
Okay, and Dorothandel rerolled to not crit. That's fair. Alright, so, Astaroth crit succeeded with 3 success levels. So, Astaroth, as you are looking around the sewers, despite the encroaching darkness from all sides, Sigmund's light is thankfully able to provide enough light that you spot on the corner of the stone, just a little ways ahead of y'all, going north, there is a splash of this blackish blood, and it looks fairly fresh. Furthermore, with the crit, I will note that you see a couple of patches of it continuing on ahead. I keep going to the wrong map. And then it takes, you see it just enough on a corner up ahead of y'all that you're able to tell that at the next junction that is already visible ahead of you guys, because it's not that far away, the goblin hooked a left.
Okay. And
Okay, lads, it looks like there's some blood on the floor.
Actually, you know what? Upon further consideration, I will let y'all see the sewer map, because with that piece of information, that is enough. Fine. So here, let's go here. Welcome to the sewers, gentlemen.
Do not own any tokens within this scene.
I will fix that issue. Give me one moment. All right. This is your marching order. So y'all are currently here. So from what you see, the goblin moved up in this direction, and thanks to your crit, because it's a pretty good amount of distance. It's like almost 30 yards. But you're able to see a splash of blood far ahead on the path leading left. Only because you crit did I give you that.
Thank you.
So, if y'all want, you can go ahead and do y'all. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, no, let's head in that direction, lads. It looks like the goblin is wounded somehow and is moving towards the left over there.
The goblin was bleeding before it went into the sewer.
Yeah, he was beaten pretty bad.
I don't think I mentioned this, but we are killing that goblin if
Yes.
it's alive.
No, yeah, absolutely. I am in no way, shape, or form concerned about bringing this gentleman his toy alive.
All right. As y'all continue moseying your way about and making your way down the sewer, I need everyone to roll me a single D10.
Is this a fortune roll or no?
It is no. Fortune points will not aid you in this task. Okay. You make your way along the walls of the sewers, following down this path. Every once in a while, you are actually able to see drips of this blackish blood along the ground. as you follow and follow and follow, and you finally come up to this corner. And as you can come up to this corner, Sigmund, you can see very obviously that the goblin hooked a left and headed down this major path, which thankfully happens to be the side of the sewer y'all are already on, so you don't have to try and jump across or make any weird crossings.
Have we come across a crossing in our journey so far through this sewer? How common are those crossings?
There is a connection here that can take you straight across. There's like a little bridge, but other than that, it is the only one you've seen. And as you were making your way up, you did pass by these like small, narrow side passages that seem to lead to perhaps private residences or just kind of collection points. And if you had not happened to be on the correct side of those, you would have had to backtrack to who knows where to find a crossing point, or have just jumped across.
So just to clarify, could you guys actually see like the pass and everything? Because all I see is a black screen with my token on it.
I can't see anything.
Oh, why didn't you
I
say
will change the lighting to allow global illumination. I don't think we have the token set up for light.
so? Oh, I see. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, global illumination.
that works. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, y'all are here. There's a path that leads off to the left that Sigmund, you feel very confident the goblin went that way. And that is the information you have available.
Yeah. So let's head down that way.
All right. You start to make your way down through the sewers. It's dark and oppressive down here. The stink is rather intense. And just so I know, Sigmund, do you have a regular lantern or a storm lantern?
I believe it's a regular lantern.
Okay. So it is exposed. Okay. So that is good to know. That might not be relevant, but it might become relevant. You continue, you're making your way along, and as you are pressing onwards, I need Sigmund to roll me a d10.
Okay.
Because you are in the lead. All right, Sigmund, as you are walking along, you have the light out in front of you. Do you have it out? Are you just holding it by hand, or do you have it on like some kind of pole?
I have it just in hand, so I can have my sword out if need be.
Okay. So as you're walking, holding out the lantern in front of you, making your way through the dark just along this little 3-foot road, you are able to see quite well in the dark, thanks to your dark vision, and you also have the light illuminating. So you are going to be in a better position to deal with this than someone else might have been. As you are moving forward, there is a pipe that you... I need actually everybody to roll me a challenging perception test. Normally, this would have been harder for Sigmund, but thanks to your dark vision, you are just going to have to take a hard or a regular difficulty. So it's going to be a challenging perception test for everybody. Okay, looking good. Okay, so all of you are able to see, as you're walking along, that there is a discharge pipe that has become exposed over time and is actually a little bit higher than the rest of the walkway. But thankfully, all of you see it. So you are able to... Nobody stumbles into it, and therefore nobody stumbles and potentially falls or hurts themselves, as you are able to clear it and continue on your way further down the sewer.
Thank God.
As you continue to make your way down, working through the dark, you come to... I'm going to move you all up here. You come to a junction where there is a minor walkway path that juts off to your left. It is a far smaller pipe that is only 5 feet in diameter. So the whole thing from top to bottom, left to right, is 5 feet. So for most of you to get into it, you would need to crouch. And there's also no like proper walkway. You just have to walk through the stuff that is trickling its way through. But you do not have to go that way by any means. You can just continue along your major route.
Can I roll again to see if I see the blood still? I assume if it was bleeding back there, that there's still going to be a trail of blood.
Yes, and between your crit, you may roll me a average. Let's see. No, you can roll me a very easy track check. Another crit! Yes, you are easily able to identify that the goblin did not turn this way. And in fact, I am not going to make you take another track check for the rest of this encounter, because you crit twice in a row regarding the same subject. You have gone full dirt dude, as the saying goes, on this goblin, and you are locked on to the path it's leading behind it.
Awesome.
All right, so y'all make your way further down, and here, underneath what is presumably the High Temple of Sigmar, you run into an issue, which is that the walkway here on the side y'all are on, has crumbled away. There is actually a gap of 6 feet where the pathway is going to crumble away, and I'm going to need Sigmund to roll a challenging perception check to ensure that he does not accidentally just kind of, as you're walking away, because the shadows are cast quite... Actually, make it average, once again, for your night vision, to make sure that you don't like lose your footing or step out into the darkness on accident. An 88? Oh, no.
I'm going to re-roll that.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're
28.
good.
Oh, cool. That's better.
Yeah, you can call a stop to your companions as they're walking behind you to ensure that they do not bump into you and toss you off the edge.
Would appreciate that.
All right. There is a 6-foot gap in the walkway between you and where you want to be. Alternatively, the pathway on the other side is sound looking, but it is across a 5-foot channel of filth.
Oh, how hard could it be to jump 5 feet?
Well, it's going to be very hard for Dothandril. His ankle's shot. My only concern. Lenny, do you think you could pick up Dothandril and make the jump?
Absolutely not.
No. I mean, it's just a walk back to that bridge, and then... Would that bridge have let us get to the other side?
Yeah, if you want to go all the way back. For the record, you've been walking about 30-ish minutes.
How big is the gap?
6 feet.
Yeah, it's about 5 to 6 feet, either way.
You want to use that long pole you got there?
I don't know if it would be sturdy enough.
Can I
for
look around?
Pushing a barge. It better be sturdy enough to hold Dorthandril's weight.
No, we could do that then. We could do it for all of us. Slither across on the pole. Oh, let's try that. Let's save time rather than walking another 20, 30 minutes back towards the bridge.
Yeah, it's 6 feet. It ain't that. It's not that scary.
Dorthandril will look at 5 feet of effluence. It is.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Sigmund, what are... Yeah, I'll just What are y'all thinking?
I think we're gonna use Dorthandrel's pole to try and because it's 9 feet long, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's 9 foot
Yeah,
tall.
so we could lay it across and try and.
How deep is the ditch of effluence? That's.
You don't know.
I mean, from
a
the
new
surface
pole.
we're walking on to the top of it.
Oh, it's only
deep is-
down it is only it is probably from where you are standing, it's only 2 feet down. It's not like it's a deep epic fall. Like you could very easily pull your 1 foot down. You could very easily pull yourself up out of it. Now, how deep it is, you'd have to check somehow.
Yeah, no, my concern is even if we're shimmying across on this pole, we're probably going to still be dipping into it a bit.
We can use the pole to see how deep it is.
Yes, but then that would ruin Dorthandrel's pole. And then when he goes to hold it, he's gonna get poop hands.
No, the pole is staying if it goes in.
Yeah.
GM, question.
Yeah.
With how tender Dorthandrel's ankle feels, does he have the opinion that the penalty to movement will also affect how far he can leap?
How far? Not
So you can leap. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Because it's based off your movement speed, which
Yes.
is currently halved.
So I'll put it this way. If y'all are going to attempt to jump across, regardless of which way you jump, it is a very simple, challenging athletics check, which in the case of Dorthandrel means you would be at a -10 penalty because of your torn muscle.
Okay, so it's not like calculating leap distance of my 2.5 feet of
No,
movement.
because you have to take into account that you need to land smoothly on a fairly small amount of space. You are not in danger of plummeting to your death, so to speak. And it's not about just it's enough of a leap, and the surface is kind of humid and moist and slick enough that it's a lot more. It's not really about if you can clear it. Y'all should feel fairly confident in your ability to clear it. The issue is more, are you gonna stick the landing?
Yeah. Or fall and get covered in doogie.
Yeah. Which, it's not going to kill you. It's just going to be really gross.
Yeah. We're staying at a nice enough place. I can jump over.
All right. Roll me a challenging athletics check.
Is this considered concerning running at all?
No, because you do not have a running start.
Okay. Oh my god, it's spun on 30 for a while.
Do you have any fortune points?
I believe I have one left.
You don't have to use it. I mean, if you're just like, I'm okay with being gross, then you can just be gross. But, or you can use your last fortune point.
You are holding the lantern.
Yeah.
Because you didn't say you handed it to anyone.
And
Okay.
it's not going to save him.
Nope.
So, Sigmund, you are standing there, and you get yourself all hyped up to go, and you take that standing leap of faith. And the second that you jump, you have that very distinct sensation that we often make fun of cats for, where you realize that you were so focused on the amount of energy you would need to make the distance and landing that you didn't really consider how awesome your footing was to begin the jump. And so when you go for it, all of that pressure you put onto the balls of your feet causes you to, instead of pushing you forward to the jump, it pushes your feet out from under you, and you just sort of launch yourself more forward and down instead of forward and up. And you go tumbling into the disgustingness below. So, you are going to fall into the nastiness, and it's immensely gross. You fall in to the sewage, And I would like you to roll me. How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay. Yeah, no, you're fine. So you go plowing into the sewage. Luckily, because you are standing and like you jumped forward, your momentum didn't carry correctly. You just sort of go down into it almost in a standing position and are immersed in just absolute filth. It's a bad time.
And with that, I'm going to elect to use the pole.
A half hour isn't that much time. Dorothan will look back the way we came.
Like, one of us is already across, basically.
Yeah.
Yes, but all of us don't need to be covered in filth.
Sigmund, I assume you want to pull yourself out of the filth on the other side.
Yes.
All right. That is very easy to do. Life is terrible. You can feel it squelching in your boots, and the smell is absolutely horrid. There's this thick layer of just the best that Bogenhofen has to offer on you. Oh, and of course, to answer your question, the channel was filled about 4 feet's worth of just uck.
From a man with experience, you think we should jump?
No. I'll be here.
Well, like, you should stick with the group. Like, you might have to get back to us if we're taking the 30-minute walk.
We'll need your lantern.
I will note that without the lantern, everyone except Dorothandra will be completely and utterly... Oh! The lantern!
Yes.
I almost forgot. Yes, I need you to roll me... Let's see. Let me look at your... What would be an appropriate check for keeping this thing out of the filth? You may either roll a athletics or flat agility. Oh wait, no, that is athletics. So yeah, just roll me a average athletics check to keep the lantern from going into the sewage. Very nice.
I did that.
You managed to heft it up into the air as you're falling and keep it above your head so the flame is not doused and you are not all thrown into terrifying darkness.
Hey, did good.
Alright. So are we turning around now? Is that the plan? Nobody wants to try to slink across on the pole?
Yeah, but like, if we wanna get the lantern across safely, you're probably gonna have to wade through that as opposed to jumping.
Tozano could just hold out the pole and he can put the lantern on him.
Oh yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah, remember, any ideas y'all want to try out is only limited by your imagination.
Alright, let's get the pole.
Dorothan will extend the 9-foot pole across the gap.
Puts it on.
Tip a pole up so it slides down.
All right, so the lantern is now in Lenny's hands, or Dorothandrel's, whichever. Sigmund,
I'll pass it to the elf.
You are now on the other side of the channel.
Yeah.
What, are you just gonna stay here?
I should probably try and leap back across just to be with them.
To be fair, you're already covered in this hordeness.
Yeah.
You can leap, and it's not a big deal if you fail as long as you don't crit fail. Or you could literally just get in it and walk across and get back up. You're already mired.
I will shuffle my way through.
You're just gonna walk back across?
Yeah.
Alright, you lower yourself back down. This
is one long tunnel.
Yeah.
With a walkway on either side.
Yeah.
You could just walk along the other side if you really don't want to step into that murk again.
He did not jump to the opposite side. He jumped ahead.
Okay, that's right.
But you walk across very easily. You're able to get back up next to your companions. The good news is that it only worsens Lenny's nausea a little bit, but not in any way that practically matters.
Sweet.
All right, so y'all gonna just make your way back down?
Yeah.
All right, you make your way all the way back. Another 30 minutes of shuffling through the darkness, with poor Sigmund slowly but surely drying out as all the filth just cakes into his clothing, and his sword has now become a very distinctly different and grotesque type of weapon. But nonetheless,
Become a Nerdle champion.
nonetheless, you do make your way down there. And let's see. Okay, cool. So now there's a little bridge. You can all cross it effortlessly and continue to make your way back across. Is that what y'all want to do?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So you begin making your way down the side. And are y'all going to continue to move? Because keep in mind that the goblin is out there somewhere and it's actively on the move. Do y'all just want to keep at kind of a very slow, cautious pace, or do you want to put the pedal to the metal a little bit?
No, where we went a half an hour back, we definitely should put the pedal to the metal.
I will point out, Dorthendel can only move pretty slow.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, you're an elf, so your pretty slow is more like their normal.
No, my pretty slow is half of their normal. My movement is 2 if you round down.
Your move
3 if you round up.
We'll round up.
So we're traveling with Ben again.
Yeah, just like old times. But yeah, we should hustle as much as we can.
Okay, so I will say, if you hustle, it's going to be very hard on Dorthandrel. Like, he physically cannot hustle without
Pain.
Lenny, give him a piggyback ride.
I am not strong.
I don't know why you keep thinking that Lenny is like some berserker.
Yeah. Letty is like a
doesn't know
little wiry dude we have with us.
Probably
it's
how
good.
he pinned down that big beefy man with a chair when we first met him.
It's honestly
Yeah.
good that Astaroth has such faith in his companions. That's heartwarming.
Yeah.
I give him a piggyback, but I'm so short that Angel's feet would just drag on the ground.
Can I help carry some of your
Well,
stuff, maybe?
on my back.
Presumably
Yeah.
that would probably not help. All right, y'all make your way along, and you are approaching very close to the same spot. You're not quite to where you were. The location where the pathway carved away is about another 25 yards ahead. But as you're coming along the wall, Sigmund, you see it first, but you all see it. There is a very distinct, along the wall on your side of the sewer, there is a very distinct just wall, this collection of mold all along the where the ceiling sort of curves up all the way down to almost your head height, following along for about 5 yards.
Watch the mold, lads. We don't know what the spores will do. Touch it.
I think you're highly overestimating Dorthandrel's desire to touch anything in this sewer.
I don't think you need to remind us not to touch anything. As I shake my arm out.
You do notice that between the fact that you have 3 foot of walkway and this mold stretches all the way down to its easily a little bit below head height of your shortest party member, who is considerably shorter than the rest of you. This will be very difficult to walk by.
And we crawl along the floor to get by it.
There is an issue with that, in that I am the first person, and if I crawl, I'm going to leave a trail.
How much?
It's technically true.
You could go into the muck. Then you won't leave a trail.
Just right off.
Hey.
How long does this mold patch extend for?
About 5 yards.
Not too much.
What type of check would it be to avoid the mold?
That depends on how you try to avoid it.
I was thinking, like, it would get kind of smoky, but I could take one of my arrows and light the tip of it with a little bit of fire from Sigmund's lantern, and then try and set the mold on fire and burn it out. It's only 5 yards.
I don't feel like inhaling burning mold in a sewer, in an enclosed space.
Well, exactly, but it's not too. It's only 5 yards.
It's just mold. We could just walk by it, right?
Well, you don't know what type of mold it is. If we attempt to walk by it and you touch it and a bunch of spores blow out, you could get sick. You get a disease. It could eat your brain.
Does anybody have lore plants or lore herbs?
No.
No.
Alright, how about we just hold our breath? It's like 5 feet of mold. We could just walk by it.
If that's what you guys want to try.
I look at the rest of the party. Like, I'm looking to just get out of here as soon as possible.
Sigmund, you're in front.
Yeah, that works for me. I will duck down and hold my breath.
All right. I'm going to roll a d4. Mr. Lenny.
Hey, Landy.
I need you to roll me a d10. Okay. Okay. Let's see. All right. Sigmund, are you just gonna run? Is everyone just gonna hold their breath and? Are y'all running, or are you just going to hold your breath and walk?
I think walking for this particular 5 yard stretch would be better.
Yeah.
Okay. So everyone goes, holds their breath, and walks through. Sigmund, the moment you get even, I'd say probably within 6 inches of this mold, it reacts. And suddenly, a spore cloud explodes across all of you as the mold just rapidly vibrates itself and just sends out spores in every direction of a very distinct red color. I need everyone to roll me a challenging endurance test.
Is this endurance test for enduring hardships?
Yes. I will. Sure, I'll allow that.
Doesn't matter.
Oh my god, guys.
I'll reroll.
Okay.
This party gets taken out by mold.
So everybody failed.
Cool.
Oh my! So we got 2 99s,
Oh, fuck.
an 86, and a 79.
We should have just burned it.
So Dorothandrel, I will say, would you like to re-roll that?
I mean, I would like to reroll that.
Well, you may if you're willing to take a corruption point.
This is mold.
All right. So, everyone except for Dorothandril, as you head into the spore cloud and the spores explode outwards, there is a part of your mind that is so thankful that you were clever enough to hold your breath as all of this red, almost like a dust, though you can see all the little spore seeds in it quite noticeably, fill the air. And you are pushing at a walking pace back to back against one another. Suddenly, everyone except Dorothandril, very quickly, you only have a moment to think about your cleverness before you realize that your eyes are burning. Horrible pain. Searing pain. And you realize that breathing is not the only potential issue. Those of you who failed the test are going to gain, let's see. So Lenny gains 7 blinded conditions. Astaroth gains 6 blinded conditions. And Sigmund gains 4 blinded conditions. As your eyes erupt into intense agony and your body just reflexively welds them shut, trying to push out this invader. But for Astaroth, it's even worse. Because Astaroth, when his eyes get that blinded, he suddenly missteps because he can't see where he's going. He's at the back of the party. It's kind of dark back here because the lantern's way up ahead and there's 3 other bodies in front of him. The spore cloud goes up and he can't really see where he's going. And Astaroth, as you're trying to follow and you're blindly flailing through the dark, you feel you step into nothingness. And you fall forward into the effluent.
Oh,
But the worst thing is that while you fell, you had this forward stumbling momentum, so you don't go down straight standing up. You go down
face first.
face first, and you go under.
Nice.
So now you are beneath the effluent. You are underwater in a mixture of shit and piss and the worst that could possibly be imagined, all mixed together into Nurgle's delightful slurry. And you are also blind. You cannot see. This is a very suddenly scary scenario. So, what you are going to need to do, because you are underneath, is that this situation has gone from very bad to very, very bad. So, what I'm going to have you do is, I'm going to double check the exact wording of the blinded condition, which you have quite a few of. Just because I just want to make sure that I am doing this the way I want to be doing it. Pop, 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 pop. Gosh darn it, what page is that on? There it is. Cool. So, you need to stand up, which is not a big deal. How tall are you, Astaroth?
5'3".
Oh yeah, this is actually going to be kind of not great. Let's see. Sorry, I need one other thing in the rules real quick. And then... Where's it? I've never needed this rule before. There it is. on Amy. Oh, it was literally right the next page. Ta 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 ta. So the good news is you were already holding your breath. The bad news is you are in not a fun position. So you are underneath stuff. You need to get up out of the stuff. Can you swim?
I don't. Yeah, I can actually.
Okay, I am going to need you to make me a challenging swim roll to get above the effluent so you do not start drowning.
So, technically, Astaroth can't swim because it's advanced and he has 0 ranks in it.
Oh, never mind. You
Oh,
cannot
I
swim.
thought if I had it, I could. Okay.
No,
so
you have to have at
disregard
least.
that.
Sorry, you have to have at least an advancement in it, because it's an advanced skill. Okay, so you cannot swim. In that case, you are going to need to try and essentially just climb the wall, but you need. Okay, so this is a very nasty situation. So basically, what we're going to do is this: you are drowning in filth. You cannot open your eyes. You cannot see. So I would like you to roll. Do you have navigation?
No.
Do you have? I'll put it this
Navigation is basic.
way.
Yeah, it is a basic.
Yeah,
so I do have it. I just don't have
Let me
any
put it
advanced.
this way. I'm going to describe the situation. You tell me how you think how you want to get out of it. You have lost your sight. Suddenly you fell. You don't know which direction you need to go in. Your head is underneath. You need to get up and out. At the very least, up. But you do not have the ability to swim. So you need to find a wall. But you don't know which direction the wall is in. So how would you like to try and figure that out?
When I was a kid, and I'm sure a bunch of people have done this in the past. Like when I was a kid, I would love to when you jump off into the pool and you just put all your weight, so you go down to the bottom, and then when your feet hit the bottom of the pool, you push up and you jump up out of the water. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I imagine Astaroth do something like that. So he can't figure out where, he can't see, but we know it's only a 4-foot channel. He's 5 foot tall. So if he just puts all of his weight down to eventually feel the bottom, and when his feet hit the bottom, he can just launch himself up like a kid in the pool.
Yeah, sure. So all you need to do in that case is just roll me a challenging endurance test because you're holding your breath.
Okay.
All right, so you're going to take 1 wound, but it's not hard to do. But you will just take 1 wound. So you take a wound, you reach the bottom, you push up, and you are able to get your head above the effluent. You still don't know where you are, but at the very least, you can make noise and breathe.
Somebody help me, please.
Lenny and Sigmund, roll me a average cool check. No, make it an easy cool check. Okay, you're fine. You've gone blind. You can't see, but you can only the slightest bit open your eyes for a second, like a millisecond before you have to close them again because tears are just pouring out of your eyes, being like, "Oh my God, purge this garbage out of my eyes." Dorothandrel, you are the only person that can see what's going on now. You hear, rather than necessarily see, Astaroth go down, but you also now hear him calling for help.
All right. Question. That was a toughness test, right, for the endurance?
Yes.
And I believe nausea goes off on endurance fails? If I'm remembering it right?
It goes off on movement-based fails.
Okay. So then if Lenny is not hurling and about to topple in, Dorothander will stick his 9-foot pole towards Astaroth.
Yeah, Lenny's not having a good time, but that will not trigger his nausea. So you're just gonna poke your pole, put the pole into Astaroth's vicinity.
Yes.
All right, Astaroth, you feel something. You feel what you can fairly easily identify as Dorothandrel's pole smack into you.
Okay, I'm gonna grab onto it and hold so he can pull me up.
All right, that is easy to do. Dorothandrel is able to pull you closer to the wall, and you are able to be pulled up. And yeah, y'all are just having the best of times down here.
By tall. We need to get out of here. Could anybody else? Does anybody else can see at all? I can't see.
Yes.
I can't.
Not really.
We only have one person that can see. We need to find a healer. We need to leave the sewers and find someone.
You get the shit out of our eyes. In your case, I think
And on that
literally
note,
what I heard.
being blinded and gross and suffering in the sewers of Bogenhofen, unfortunately, we need to call it a session.
Oh, okay.
We're out of time. So
That does mean for next session, while we're in the sewers, we get our fortune points back.
that's true. You will get your fortune points back. And the good news is, y'all haven't really taken that much damage. I think total, y'all have only lost 1 wound on Dorothandrel and 1 wound on Astaroth.
Yeah.
But
Dorothandrel is a crit, though.
yes, but whoo boy, is this proof? I was not expecting the quote unquote deadly mold. Hey, at least it was red mold and not yellow mold. Yellow mold would have been way worse.
But the shitstorm of bad rolls.
So that is going to be the end of our session for today. Everybody gets 100 experience.
I don't think anyone did.
It is marvelous to see that everyone is just suffering in agony. So
Truly enjoying the grim dark.
Yep. Good job, y'all. Keep fighting the good fight. Also, I'm going to add the entry manhole onto y'all's visibility. That way y'all can see where you came in. All right. So good session. Thank you all for joining. Let's see. /experience 100. Hopefully I do this right. What session is this? Do y'all remember what number this is?
17.
Oh,
17. Is that the right? Yeah, there we go. I did it right. All right. So, yeah, everybody gets 100 experience, and I will leave this up for a while so y'all can do all that stuff. So, great job. Thanks to everyone for enjoying the session. Actually, y'all... fudge. I forgot to reward you. Y'all actually get a little more bonus experience. Sorry, 1 second. You're going to get... Where is it? You did not do that, but you did do that. So you will get an additional... You get an additional bounds instead of bonus. Nice. I'm good at typing. You get an additional 10 experience because you accepted the job to track down the goblin, which I'm sure you're all not regretting at all right now. Make sure you have a note somewhere on your character sheet of how many blind conditions you have for the start of next session.
You can just add the conditions to your character sheet under effects. There's a blinded icon, and you just left click that until you have the right number.
Yep, got it.
All right. Any questions or concerns or comments before we dismiss everyone?
Nope, just that I'm taking lucky. I'm a mystic, and I am now lucky, and I hope this works.
Oh my god, an elf with a fortune point. All right, great session, y'all. I hope you had fun, and I'll see y'all next time.